Hello and welcome back. So, in today's video, we are gonna switch out the dots on this kit guitar neck. If you've seen my recent videos, you know I have two Harley Benton kits, and though I don't think there is anything wrong with this neck and the inlays on it, I think that they are pretty basic and boring, and they're not really what I want for this guitar. You're gonna see more of this guitar later. I'm working on making it look a little bit old, maybe a little bit Mike Oldfield, Bloomfield. I was trying to come up with a joke there, it didn't land. Let's continue. I'm gonna show you how I remove these and how I replace them. So let's get going. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drill a hole into this inlay, and I'm using a bit. This is a 2mm bit. You don't need to use a 2mm bit. The only thing that really matters is that it's not as big as this circle. So this should be 6mm. So I'm using this 2mm. You could use a 2.5 or a 3mm. Maybe don't go down beyond 2 to like 1mm or something like that. It's a little bit too little, but I'm gonna drill now, and I'm just gonna drill through the plastic, and when I see black chips come out, I'm gonna stop, because then I'm drilling into the actual wood of the neck. So that's just super tiny. I don't know if you can see that. It's a super tiny little dent. It's not even a mil. Something like that. And I actually didn't even have to drill into the wood on the underside, because I can see now that this is floating, so there is a pocket in between. Now you just need something to break this up with. So I'm just taking a knife and I'm just gonna chip away. And sometimes they come out really clean, like this one did, and sometimes they break up and you have to like go in and just break them a little bit. And now I'm just gonna put some super glue in here, a couple of drops like that. It's maybe even too much, so I'm gonna take a little bit of tissue paper and stick it in and let it soak up a little bit and remove. Then I'm gonna take my plugs and I'm just gonna put them over and press them in. And you should make your plugs just a tiny bit too big, so that when you go to press them in, it's a little bit hard to do. Like that. And now I'm just going to leave this to dry for a little bit, and we'll clean it up. It looks a little bit messy, but that's because these are vintage clay dots. You could obviously put anything in here. Some really fun things you can try out that I've tried out before is you could actually just put glitter in here that you buy at the craft store, and then you just fill them up with a tiny bit of resin. That could look really cool. If you've seen my series of how to turn a right-handed guitar into a left-handed guitar, where I basically have a SG that I'm repairing and fixing and then turning into a left-handed guitar, I put glitter in the holes, and I actually at the 12th I put both blue and red and made a fade in between, and then I just filled them up with resin. That's a super easy way to do. You could also make these little dots that you lay in out of like brass or bone, or you could use clay. There's a lot of things you could put in. You could even like inlay something new, cut out the shape. We're gonna do that at another point, so I'm not going to show you that on this guitar. This is just replacing. And now it's been drying for a little bit, and I'm just going to take my knife and I'm just going to carefully cut off the excess and blend the wood that is on the side together with the new clay inlay. And by holding the blade up to the wood and letting the edge just move along the wood, I make sure I don't cut into the actual wood because you don't want to remove any wood. And then I can remove just the overhang of the inlay. And so now I can barely feel it at all. I need to scrape a little bit more, but you can't feel an edge or anything. I'm just gonna just a little bit more. Something like that. Yeah, and now it's perfect. So I'll be back in a minute when I've done the other ones, but that's the basics of how you do it. You just drill a hole and bend it out. And try to drill the hole in the middle, because if you drill it too much to the side, the bit might wander, and also if the knife leans up against the edge, where the black wood basically, and you press it down, you might actually make an indentation. And then you're gonna have to try to make the wood come back up, or you're gonna have to like try to scrape it away and replace that piece of wood, and it's just a mess. So try to take the drill and drill as close as you can to the center. You don't have to be exactly in the center, you don't need to measure this out, but and if you look real close at this hole, you can see it's pretty much in the center, but it's like eyeballed center. It's not like measured out perfect center. Okay, so here's the neck now, and as you can see, all of the fret marks are in their place. And it looks good. It only takes a couple of minutes to do. Obviously, it depends entirely on what kind of marks you're putting into the guitar, but clay dots are very easy, and that's the reason why Fender made them that way, because it's a super easy install. But it is easy to do, really, no matter what you use. Obviously, some things take longer time to cure, like resin, for example. Then you have to follow the instructions on the packaging, and it will have to do with what kind of resin you buy. Inlaying something like, for example, steel will also take a longer time, because making the little marks will take a longer time because it's steel and it's a harder material. Making them out of bone will also take a longer time, because you have to use file to round them over and make sure they don't crack. Same thing with making them out of like mother of pearl or something like that. It's not very hard to do, but depending on what you want to inlay, it will take longer time. If you liked this video and it helped you in some way, I would very much appreciate it if you subscribed and liked the video. You don't have to if you don't wanna, but I would appreciate if you did. Please consider doing it. Well, there you have it. Until next time, stay awesome and cool, and go and build something. Maybe, you know, do some awesome inlay work on a neck. Do it now.